your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own new review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Listen, this episode wasn't bad, but it just got annoying and irritating because the amount of everybody coddling and enabling Porsha's delusion of presenting her out to be a victim was just like too much for me. So they wanted to open up this scene by having Shamia create a country song in honor of Porsha's birthday. It's Porsha's birthday. Okay, Shamia, we get it. It is Porsha's birthday and everything needs to be about Porsha. But the way you can just come up out of the blue to create a song for your best friend, and yet she came up with an excuse to not recognize that it was your song and it was your voice. Fine. Everybody's waking up, checking in with their significant others. Brisket talks to Mike about what went down the night before, where everybody was coming after Angela for inviting Drew on Porsha's trip. And Brisket is like, last night was a lot, okay? And Angela, she was just advocating for Drew to come, and it is just not her place. See, Brisket has been creating an issue with Angela ever since the peace brunch because in her mind, Angela rubbed her the wrong way, all because Angela wanted to ask for clarity as to how your license could have gotten suspended. And you had an attitude for it. So now she wants to be on her guard when it comes to Angela. So seeing that Porsha's creating an issue with Angela, Brisket wants to follow up behind it and add her own 2 cents in and co-sign on everything that Porsha has been experiencing with Angela. I really cannot. Brisket makes issues out of nowhere and then look for somebody else to follow to have the same amount of problems, to think that it's not just me, somebody else think like me too. I can't take it. So Shamia checks in with her daughter by calling Gerald, and apparently Gerald has taken Shiloh to the emergency room because Shiloh has been congested for the past couple of weeks. And as it turns out, she has an ear infection. I understand that. My daughter has had plenty of ear infections as well. I hate them. It makes me sad for her when she gets them. So she needs an antibiotic. And Shamia gets emotional over being blessed to have Gerald in her life and that she's never had to go through any of the challenges for their children by herself. Gerald has been there every step of the way. So because he stepped up as a father, as a husband, she wants to grant him a son. Because he's been talking about wanting a son. So seeing him step up, she wants to award him that blessing. So if it's God's will, it's God's will. Shamia, all I want to say is, if you want to bless Gerald with another baby, that's fine. But hyping up because he took his daughter to the emergency room to check out her ear infection is what a father is supposed to do. He's supposed to know how to handle when his children are sick. And as a father, he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do to make sure you're good. Yes, there are some times where husbands and fathers don't show up in that way and you have to do it by yourself. Be thankful and glad you had that type of partner. I had that type of partner too. But you hyping up about how he deserves a son, I don't think that should be a reason enough, in my opinion. He's already doing what he's supposed to do with him having daughters. It's not going to be any different if you grant him a son. And we've already been hearing how it's been a lot with Shiloh and her health issues. You just survived an ectopic pregnancy. Maybe you should put a pause on IVF, put a pause on surrogacy until you get a handle on everything. Like, let yourself have a break. That's why you're out here. You're spending time with your best friend. Don't feel guilty of spending time away from your kids and your husband to make sure you have your own peace of mind. That's all I want to say. Because Shamia, you have had a lot going on. You have been dealing with a lot. You enjoy a break. So we got Angela and Cynthia talking outside, and Cynthia knows that Angela has been through the ringer with everybody coming at her. And Britt want to tell Angela in a flashback that she's a bit theatrical, says the actress herself. And Angela says, look, my loyalty is with Drew just like all my loyalty is to my friends. I am not going to be the type of person who will allow my friend to be disrespected and talked about in my presence. That's just not going to work for me. And if they don't understand that, then they don't know who I am. And I agree with Angela. To think that Angela would not have stood up for Drew or defended her while she hasn't shown up is a bad thing when it's not. That shows how loyal she is. That's how a true friend is supposed to be. But of course, Cynthia wants to be an advocate about how baby daddies hit different in regards to this because Drew brought this on herself. How, Cynthia? How did she brought this on herself when I do think that Drew has told Porsha about her working with Dennis? Why is it such a shock that she gonna see it on camera? That's the whole part. And the whole thing about baby daddies. What is the importance of a baby daddy? Just somebody you have a child with. You do not control who he talks to. You don't control who he decides to get into business with. And you don't control who he decides to get in a relationship with unless it becomes serious. And Cynthia, what is it about you attaching yourself to think that you can understand where Porsha's coming from because you have a baby daddy? Girl, you and Leon have not been in that type of factor in years. Noelle is grown. You have been married twice at this point. What type of understanding and empathy could you possibly give to Porsha? Girl, nobody has to go through you to get approval, to be working with Leon, to be by Leon, to talk to Leon, to work with him. Girl, please, nobody goes by you. Get out of here with that shit, Cynthia. Good night, good night, good night. Cynthia, the more you capping for Porsha's feelings, it's just automatically advantageous of you to be connected with her because she's still part of the OGs like you are, and you need a check. Okay, the more you're on her side, the more scenes you're in, the more conversation you're going to have because, Cynthia, what is your storyline this season? While being a friend of the show, you have not really been around as much. And I feel like you're just a fly on the wall. Like you're not even there. I don't really remember you because you're never here. Cynthia, and that's not the first thing you've done that's pissed me off in this episode. We're going to get to another time later. So Angela is feeling a lot of heat in regards to Drew. But that speaks to her character. Like, I stood 10 toes down. Like she says, I wear a size 12 shoe. I'm going to say what I say. And even Cynthia knows that the only person who has an issue out of this is Porsha. And Porsha and Drew needs to work it out. And that's what Angela wants them to do. It's just work it out. That's all she wanted. So is Drew on her way? She should be on her way. That was a 35-minute flight that she took from Atlanta to Nashville and a 3-hour drive to get here. So she should be here. Drew finally makes it. She's in happy spirits. She gets a hug from Cynthia, and there are 2 outings that they have going on. A whiskey tasting and a coyote bartending class. So as much as Drew was contemplating on coming on this trip, she wanted to think about her friendship with Porsha. They've been friends for years, so she wants to make the effort. She thanks Angela for making the effort to extend the olive branch. Hello, someone's got to do it because I'm only seeing Drew make the effort of trying to fix things with Porsha, and Porsha has been running every time and avoiding having the conversation. Only because if Porsha was to really sit down and have Drew explain herself, we wouldn't have this anymore because Porsha doesn't have a storyline, okay? Since she can't talk about Simon, she can't film in the house, she has to drag this out with Drew. And it's so damn dumb at this point, I'm just tired of it. So Drew finds Angela while getting ready in her room, and then Drew also finds her room. It's a twin bunk, definitely giving orphanage. And it is what it is though, Drew. While the house was a shit show, you get what you get. There wasn't a great pick of the litter in finding great rooms, if you think about it. And you guys are not even going to be there anyway. And Angela's like, girl, just check on me. Look at all the war wounds I got for defending you. She's like, girl, what? I mean, they all came at me, girl, because I wanted to bring you on this trip. Now, Drew even said, you can't be mad at me for that. You brought this on yourself. Yeah, Angela did. But why is that a problem? I feel like y'all were so mad at Angela for advocating for Drew. Like Drew can't have somebody defend her. Like it's wrong for Drew to have somebody defend her. The more and more y'all push for Angela to defend Drew, the more y'all are going to make y'all becomes unlikable on this cast. Porsha, you've already been unlikable. Kelly, you're becoming that Shamia. This is your first time being a full-time peach holder. You're becoming unlikable. Britt, you've been unlikable. Cynthia, you're following that line. Like it's not even necessary to be mad that Angela is defending Drew. And Angela would do it all over again if she had knew ahead of time this how would have been the outcome. She didn't give a damn. She would invite Drew all over again. So she advises Drew to go talk to Porsha. She's like, what am I supposed to say? Girl, just say happy birthday and let's talk. That's it. So Shamia and Porsha are upstairs getting ready, and Shamia just wants to test Porsha's energy about how it's going to be when she sees Drew, because obviously she didn't want to come down yet. Cynthia texts her about which outing should Drew come, whiskey tasting or the bartending. She gave Drew the choice. Drew chose whiskey tasting. And Porsha just back and forth in her mind, creating more of an issue with Angela by saying, I'm just so tired. Like, I have been just fighting with that thing downstairs, that thing meaning Angela, and how she's been gaslighting me. When did she gaslight you, Porsha? When it came down to you trying to scold her and reprimand her for calling you out that you really did not tell Drew she shouldn't come? You really were not mad that Drew is coming, but you want to make it an issue that Drew is coming? Like, when did she gaslight you? Make it make sense for me. So they all make it downstairs, and Drew and Porsha exchange a hug. It looked like it was a great hug. It was very welcoming. Drew said, happy birthday. Said, oh my God, thank you. So you finally made it? Yes, girl, I'm happy you're here. Let's keep it going. It looked as if Porsha was willing to just have a good time and not bring any drama at that moment. Once she's calmed down and just allow for Drew to enjoy herself, have a good time, then she'll have a good time. Where did that energy go? We're going to find out later. So, as they're pulling out to head over to their activities, Shamia gets a text message from someone from her past, and she becomes emotional. As it turns out, Shamia was married for 1 year back in 2008 that I did not remember or I didn't know at all. And she shared her story of how this ex was abusive. And it flashes to Kenya's domestic violence awareness event back in 2018, where she recalls the moment he put his hands on her. And it happened when they were celebrating their 1 year anniversary at one of the hottest hotels. And that was the most scariest moment that she's ever experienced. So the person that she got a text message was someone that was familiar with her ex-husband. And she was confiding in her and explaining why she was divorcing him. But she was obviously one of those women who didn't believe her, didn't want to be there for her, so she shut her out. And seeing that text message that replies, I'm sorry, kind of validates that she now understands that Shamia definitely went through something traumatic and she wasn't supported when she should have been supported. Her reaching out to Shamia after all these years lets me know she probably had been through the same thing. And now seeing that she's in that space where she has to make a decision to leave somebody who's been abusive to her, she has to recall the time that she wasn't there for a woman who thought she could confide and express to her. Crazy as hell. Crazy, crazy, crazy as hell. And Cynthia was surprised to see how emotional Shamia got because she's never known for Shamia to cry. Because Shamia doesn't show it. That's why she's always laughing. That's why she's always being goofy. It's because she doesn't show her emotions. And now with what took place earlier, with her daughter being sick and maybe her feeling bad that she's not there to take care of her, adding that on, yeah, that definitely put a lot on Shamia's emotions that she just had to let out. I'm not mad at the vulnerability and the transparency that Shamia exhibited. So she feels validated from seeing that text message, as she should. And Shamia also asked Cynthia, how was her mom? Because her mom was also one of the domestic violence survivors at Kenya's event, where she recalls the time that she was abused by her husband. And Cynthia is proud of her mom for sharing that story. And this is another thing though, production, I got a bone to pick with you. For you guys to use Kenya's event from 2018, that was a very important event. I'm mad that y'all didn't even have Kenya be here for this moment to capitalize off of why this was an important conversation. Because if y'all was going to kick Kenya out of the season, y'all should never added anything else regarding her name. But I digress. All right, so the ladies arrived to their destinations. First group was Kelly, Shamia, and Porsha. They do the Coyote Ugly bartending event. And Cynthia, Brisket, Angela, and Drew went to the whiskey tasting. Both events look really, really fun. And when they said Coyote Ugly, I instantly thought of that 2000s movie with Tyra Banks. And that was one of my favorite movies growing up. That's like an old-time favorite for me. And the whiskey tasting looks so much fun too. Like, I would love to attend a whiskey tasting like that. So Shamia, Porsha, and Kelly, all y'all some freaks, okay? So they had to do a shot without holding the glass. So they had to do it pretty much to give their best gawk, gawk, gawk 3000 technique. Shamia, I see how you make Gerald happy. Porsha, and Kelly, I definitely see you, girl. Look like a fun time. So with Drew and the rest of the ladies, they are all just having a good time enjoying the whiskey. Cynthia was definitely knocking them back. And Drew wanted to gift Porsha a bottle of whiskey as an olive branch. They all agree that is a great gift. And I'm just hearing Drew speak out more how to resolve this issue with Porsha. But Porsha is telling Shamia and Kelly that she wants to finish the night out with a authentic cowboy dinner where everybody is dressing up in their cowboy attire. But Kelly asked Porsha, what was up with your friends? Last night they all had something to say. Are they not cool with Drew? Do they not like Drew? But Porsha said, no, we're all a good group of friends. Like, we're all cool with one another. So Drew was a part of that group. So it was out of the blue and weird that she wasn't there. That's why they asked. So that wasn't a bad thing for them to ask if they're used to you seeing her with Drew, if they're used to you hanging out with Drew, because they're all a part of this group. So Porsha really created a whole plot in her head about Angela wanting to set up Drew and wanted her to be invited in a place where she wasn't welcome. Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you go through all this way to invite her? If the host is good with it, then that's cool. But to just set up your friend to be in an environment where she wasn't welcome, I don't understand why she would do that, so I'm confused. But how did she set her up, Porsha? I didn't see her set her up. I saw her trying to inform you that I did invite Drew and I want her to be here because I'm thinking that y'all can mend y'all issues. And the way you accepted her coming, but you wanted to act like you were just constantly bullied and you was gaslit into having her come like she wasn't meant to come. And I'm going to say this again. This is a cash trip. While this was centered around Porsha's birthday, Porsha, you only had your friends there for one night. That was it. The remainder of the events that was had was with the rest of the cast. So, i.e., Drew was going to be there anyway. But this made it all the way worse when Shamia wanted to add in her 2 cents in to say that on their way to the peace brunch with Angela, she had heard Angela say that she felt the way about Drew talking shit about her to Kelly. That was news. I didn't know that Angela was upset with Drew, but production rolled back the footage and it was both of them riding in the car, and under the screen it titled what Angela actually said. And what Angela said was she had heard that Kelly was talking shit about her, but it didn't matter if Kelly was talking shit about her. She don't know her. Her friendship is with Drew. So she wanted to know what was Drew's reaction. So Shamia, if you're going to be the bone carrier, I'm going to need for you to carry bones correctly, because what you just did was lie on Angela and also twisted some words to placate on this plot that Porsha is creating in her head, and it's pissing me off. So because you are now creating an issue between Angela and Drew over Porsha's delusions, I cannot stand that, because Shamia, you have heard Angela's reasoning as to why she wanted Drew to be here. There was no other reason why. And for you to try to create another issue between the two of them is some backstabbing that shit. And this is why you and Porsha are exactly the same. Y'all are some mean girl type shit. Because why even want to create that type of friction between two friends for no reason? And I'm also wondering why Aunt Kelly isn't speaking up, because she's also falling behind that rhetoric either. And then really want to place blame on Angela that she made a thing for Drew to be unwelcome in this environment. And I'm like, how did Angela make it a thing about bringing up Drew when it was Manietta who asked, where is Drew? That's when you took over the conversation to be a victim and say that Angela wanted to invite Drew to have her crash my birthday trip, and she's also been doing some backstabbing shit behind the scenes with my baby's father. And then Lauren wanted to add in, it's more than just them working together. It is supposed to have been something else going on between them, allegedly. And that's when the friend next to Lauren says she's sucking some dick. And everybody was like, oh my God, what? No. And that wasn't cool, Porsha. So you allowed for your friends to create a negative narrative about Drew once Manietta brought Drew up. But you want to say that Angela did all of that? Angela was the one who was telling you, you're not about to talk about my friend who's not here to defend herself, because that wasn't cool. So you can miss me with trying to absolve yourself that you were the one who opened that door for the negative narrative to be made about Drew. And you're mad that Angela put you on the spot, but you want to hold it against her because you want this trip to be about you. News flash. While this is your birthday, this is not the main entertainment. You're on a reality show. So we need drama. We need resolution. So were you trying to ice Drew out from a check because you don't want her here? This isn't your show where you want to control the narrative, control the conversations. That's not going to work over here. So Angela peeped what you were trying to do, and she wasn't going to allow it. This is another thing. Once Drew has arrived, there should be no more conversations about why Drew was invited or why Angela went through so much to invite her or why you and her went through so much to invite her, because she was already coming. So once she's here, we cannot keep on going back to how could Angela do this? How can she set her up for this? Like, nothing has happened since Drew has came. Y'all are having a good time. So why make it seem as if the energy is completely changed once Drew came? So back with the other ladies, Angela said, we missed you at dinner. And she's like, oh, y'all did? Yeah, and I held it down for you last night. And then Britt wants to follow behind Porsha's issue by saying that you wanted to bring her here even though she wasn't invited. And then Angela defended, she never told me that she wasn't invited. And that's what people seem to forget. Porsha never answered Angela the amount of times that she said, I'm inviting Drew. Are you okay with that? Porsha just ignored her, deflected, ran away from the conversation, but then want to act like she was bullied and gaslit into inviting Drew. So Angela said, listen, now that I'm thinking about it, the night before, maybe Porsha was hurt, okay? Because I invited you on this trip because I wanted y'all to mend y'all issues because you guys seem like y'all were good friends. And I messed up with inviting her without Porsha's permission. I get that. There is Angela recognizing that, okay, maybe she didn't see the whole situation as it was. And maybe she just pushed too hard for this to be an issue to mend. But then Bristle decided to make this moment about her to think that she can call Angela a victim. A victim, calling somebody a victim is hilarious. Are you okay? Do you understand what being a victim means, Britt? No worries. You're going to let me know in a minute. Angela asked her, how did I play a victim? I've been catching a whole lot of heat throughout this entire ordeal of inviting Drew on this trip. And then Britt want to say, well, see, that's the thing. Like, you're thinking you're catching all of the heat, but then when you're getting confronted with the heat, you're like, oh my God, why am I receiving all of this heat? That's not what Angela did. Angela stood 10 toes down as to why she invited Drew. She never took back why she invited Drew. She didn't change her mind about why she shouldn't have invited Drew. She didn't do none of that. So what are you talking about? Britt, are you projecting that you play the victim at times where you start shit and then when you get confronted, you want to act like, I don't know what happened. Why is everybody coming for me? Why don't anybody like me? That's what it is, right? It's giving Q, Candace Dilla Bassett's projection beamer. It's giving projection. So Angela still needs an example of how she played a victim. And the only example that Brillo wants to mention is when she didn't receive enough empathy from Angela and Drew at the peach brunch. Oh my God. She was like, it was more so after the fact, okay? Because it felt like the way you walked in, it gave off entitled. And the whole thing about it though, Britt, the peach brunch was in support for you. The ladies was there to support you, but it all went left when Shamir revealed you lost your license and Angela asked you a simple question and you ate her by saying, what do you mean? What don't you get? Are you slow? Read the motherfucking room. Like, girl. So it was so hurtful that I asked you a simple question as to why your license could have been suspended for other reasons. That is given. There's more to it that you just don't want to admit because you want everyone to just be sorry for you. You want everyone to just placate to your feelings and say, fuck Porsha. That's not going to happen. So even Drew came in and says, it's a cause and effect. There was a lot of back and forth going on. And I don't know how many times folks are going to say what Kenya did was wrong and how she went about it. But what we're not going to do is make it seem as if she just came after you for no reason. As if you wasn't doing anything to her to get that reaction. So Britt literally just became oblivious after the things she said and done because she don't like being held accountable. And she don't like being the one that's in the wrong because she wants to be a victim. Cynthia, this is the second time that I've said before, you pissed me off this episode because you have said what y'all can do is tell this girl how she should react when she's entering in a room, especially when she's been humiliated. She's had her pictures posted all over a poster board of her sucking dick. Y'all can't tell her how she should feel. Cynthia, shut the fuck up, okay? Those are the things she was comfortable doing on camera. Okay? And you have not been there to see everything go down. You weren't there at Angela's bake dinner where she overreacted by being called a peasant by Kenya and how she threatened her with a pow pow. You weren't there at the peace brunch when Britt overreacted again and cussed at Angela for asking her a simple question. Cynthia, you cannot defend something that you weren't even a witness to. So what I want you to do is sit the fuck back and just smile and look pretty. Your opinion does not matter in this moment for me, okay? Girl, I could not. I swear to God, Cynthia pissed me all the way off when she did that. So witnessing a victim, calling somebody a victim is crazy right here, right now. And then she's just going off about how, do you know what it's like to be humiliated? Do you know what it's like to spend 3 days depressed in the bed? How would you feel if somebody ruined everything you set out to build? Good night. I swear to God, I was going to drag this situation out for weeks after what took place. Y'all should have kept Kenya for this. We should have seen the way that Britt and Kenya would have been able to navigate how to change the situation, how to turn it around for the better. But I'm not seeing Britt turn this around for the better. I'm seeing her play the victim worse and worse and worse. And then she's also followed behind Porsha. At the end of the day, Drew and Angela both tell her they can understand how this have made you feel. They can get how you were humiliated, but we were still trying to understand why our friend isn't here anymore. So we were sad and mad about our friend. It doesn't take away what you were feeling. It doesn't take away what was done to you. In my mind, it's just kind of like, Britt, you cannot expect for these women who have had maybe a longer history with Kenya than you to just have them drop her as a friend because of what was done to you. As if what you have done couldn't have been worse for Kenya to try to move forward from. Like, that's the shit I'm talking about. Britt's mindset is so high school because she's so cliquish. Her mind is cliquish. Like, if she don't like anybody, everybody else needs to follow suit that they don't like that person for no reason whatsoever. Her mind is definitely morphing into Porsha. So Angela apologized to her when they were going back and forth because obviously they were trying to hurt one another. So she says, my apologies to you. And I didn't hear Britt take accountability when she came at Angela for no reason. See, there it is again. Britt wants to be in a group full of yes girls. That's it, that's all. So when the ladies return back from the dinner, they get ready for their cowboy dinner. They all get ready in their cowboy attire. Porsha was on the phone with Pilar and Dennis, but then she comes down in all black, like a dark cloud, coming over here to ruin everybody else's happiness and peace because she's saying that she got a phone call from someone who told her about Dennis and Drew filming, and now she's mad. And that they had a conversation about this type of issue specifically, and that they agreed that they wouldn't do it. But it sounds like this wasn't an agreement. This is what you wanted him to not do. But if you were already aware that he was working with Drew to promote her album, it should not have been a shock to you that this would have been something that was going to get captured on camera and used for the show. Because you wanted to threaten him that if he doesn't stop working with Drew, then he's going to lose out on being with his daughter. And that's not your place. See, this is about you being able to control the narrative, control the conversation, because you want to use Dennis as your storyline because you're mad you can't use Simon, or you're mad that Drew actually has a reason to use Dennis as a storyline. So I'm done with Porsha and her delusions. And so now she's devastated that Dennis chose opportunity over family. Need I remind you, ma'am, you chose opportunity over family, but you want to invite him onto your show to place him out to be the bad guy, and you want to control the narrative and the conversations about how you got involved with Simon. And when you guys went on family vacation, you and your family wanted to jump Dennis and his mom. Make it make sense for me. Like, did she forget how we saw the way she actually was on her show? That's why your show didn't get renewed for a second season, because we saw the way you actually were. We saw how you actually represented yourself. So you can miss me with that bullshit. And another thing, this is supposed to be about you celebrating your birthday, but when you got some news that you didn't like, you are making everybody miserable. You're the one who's ruining your birthday. Nobody else is doing it but you. So the ladies do a line dance outside. I don't know if everybody was buzzed or not really paying attention to the left or their right foot, but nobody was really getting the moves right. And Porsha is visibly upset because she wants somebody to say, oh my God, Porsha was wrong. Because she wants people to pay attention to her. She wants people to be like, what? What's going on? But what she's not going to do is actually express and explain why she's feeling like this. She just wants people to just coddle her and baby her. So when everybody gets to the dinner and everybody is recognizing that Porsha is upset, and she wants people to ask her why she's upset, but she doesn't want to have a conversation. She wants to be like, no, I'm good. I'm just tired. I'm good. I'm good. I ain't got time to do this. I'm not going to chase you for you to get a chance to talk about your feelings. I'm not going to do that. Either you're going to talk or not talk. I'm not going to just look at you and just be like, oh, fuck no. I'm going to pay attention to other things that I want to pay attention to. So we get to how was everybody else's outing? How was the whiskey tasting? Brat said it was a good time. They resolved everything. Angela, do you want to talk about what we talked about? So Angela starts off with, you guys expressed to me that I play a victim. I mean, Brat, you and Porsha shared the same sentiments about how I act like a victimina, because that was the name that Porsha wants to come up with as it's an original name to say that Angela acts like a victim when she don't. So to be honest, I don't really see myself come across as a victim. So I'm a bit lost on that. So Brat was like, you didn't get what we talked about, so you didn't take anything from this conversation. No, I didn't get anything from that conversation. So I need for y'all to give me an example of how I came across as a victim. And then her number one supporter, meaning Shamia, wants to add in and say, oh, you can also be gaslighting. Okay, well, give me an example. How I come across as a gaslighter? Porsha, I'm asking you a question. How do I come across as a gaslighter? Porsha wants to look around, fiddle with her hair like it's really bothering her, and say, I don't remember. I don't got time for this shit. We are on a reality show where we're going to talk about our issues, talk about what's been said. If not, why are you here? Okay? Why are you here? And this is a typical housewife scene. When there's a big dinner, it's usually a sign where the ladies are addressing their issues. So, Porsha, if you've been saying that Angela's been a gaslighter, then why not explain to her how she's been a gaslighter? But I don't think you understand what that word means, even though you do it. So you obviously don't have any actual reasoning to call Angela a gaslighter. But can anybody explain to me why a brochure has so much to say in Porsha's defense? Like Porsha can defend herself like she's not a grown-ass woman. Girl, you just got here. But to say that Angela did not hear Porsha's feelings of not wanting Drew to be invited, Angela was like, well, she never told me she wasn't invited. And here goes Shamia putting words in Porsha's mouth by saying that the people who was on the Zoom call were the ones that was invited. But then Angela said maybe Drew missed the call. So Drew said she wasn't on the call. I don't give a damn how y'all try to slice it. I don't care about the game of semantics you guys are playing, Brat and Shamia. After the Zoom call, Angela asked Porsha, is it okay that I invited Drew? And she never told her, no, tell her to turn back around. No, tell her she's not invited. All the way down till Drew gets here. Y'all want to make it seem as if Angela set her up to be here in an unwelcome environment when it was Porsha that did it. So I don't care how y'all slice it at that point. So Angela said, I am sorry that I offended you. I apologize. And Porsha's acting like a child, okay? She is avoiding eye contact. She's passive aggressive. She's constantly fiddling with her hair like it's really in her face. And it's like, I don't have time for this. But I am so happy that Angela decided to flip the conversation, because she was like, I have been held accountable, but I cannot be the only one being held accountable. Kelly, do you remember the question you asked Porsha? Did you get the answer for the question you asked? Now everybody wants to be like, oh, that's a different situation. That's not the same. You're deflecting. Oh, no. We're talking about accountability, right? That's the whole question, taking accountability. So when has Porsha taken accountability? We haven't heard Porsha take accountability. So let's see if she'll take accountability for stealing that lady's husband. The world wants the answer to this question. So here comes Cynthia, moving the goalpost, because she doesn't want to put Porsha on the spot of answering a question that she still has yet to answer. To say, well, let's just move on from this. Porsha, do you want to answer Angela's question? She said, no, I want Angela to kiss my ass. Well, tell that to Angela. She's right there. You didn't want to tell her? You're afraid of that confrontation? So Angela said, girl, the whole world can kiss your ass. I do not want to kiss. Fix a flat. Girl, I screamed. And I mean, Porsha, how did you expect when you returned on this show that people were just gonna not talk about Simon? Folks were not gonna talk about how you got involved with him, how life has been with him, what's going on. Like, seriously? But we know she's stuck. But Angela doesn't understand the energy towards her. So Drew decides to open up the conversation to ask Porsha, how do you feel about me being here? Are you comfortable with me being here, even though I wasn't initially invited? Porsha doing the same thing, avoiding eye contact, acting like a child, being passive aggressive, to say, you straight, very nice, nasty. Drew felt it. So since you don't want to move forward in our friendship, and I've extended a lot to say I want to move forward. So listen, I didn't come empty handed. I got you a bottle of whiskey. And on that note, I am leaving. Good night, all. I'm gone. And Porsha is just sitting there eating her food, and everybody wants to convince Drew to stay. Like, no, Drew, stay. No, for real, just stay. For what? Why should she stay? Porsha clearly is uncomfortable with her being here. Porsha clearly has an issue that she doesn't want to talk about. So why should Drew stay and receive all of this mistreatment? She shouldn't. So I'm going to go. I am leaving when I wasn't even invited anyway. And in her confessional, Porsha's so full of shit. She's going to be like, girl, you hopped your ass on a flight to crash my birthday, and then you were sneaking around with my baby's father, and you want to leave as soon as I say, you straight, girl. Hallelujah, sayonara, goodbye. Porsha, shut the fuck up. Whenever you say crash, it is insinuating that Drew just popped up out of nowhere like you weren't aware of it when you were aware of it. I don't have time. Living in land of milk and cookies want to call Drew dramatic when you've been dramatic this entire time. Good night. So this is how everybody has just been following behind Porsha and have been scared to tell her the way she's been acting because they don't want to get that wrath from her, because Porsha is an emotional manipulator. She's the type that'll make you feel bad when you call her out for something and hold her accountable because she doesn't want to hear it. But dinner is over. Angela and Shamia go to check on Drew, and Drew said, I don't have time for this. I came in here wanting to mend things and move forward, and all I've got is insults and attack. Like, did everybody forget that Drew is also going through a divorce? And I feel more sympathy for Drew than I feel for Porsha. Like, her last day of court was not a good day. Ralph got approved to still stay in the basement. He wants their divorce case to be unveiled. Like, make it make sense. A girl got to leave her house 3 times out of the month and go spend a night at a hotel. Like, she got it way worse than Porsha does. It's all too much. Cynthia checks on Porsha, and Porsha reveals that the call she made really has bothered her, but it had nothing to do with Angela or Drew, not even about the situation. Then why didn't you just say that? But you want to appear to be somebody who just had a whole lot going on, appear to be somebody who's had a whole lot of piling on them, and I just can't take it. The men are coming after me. Girl, bye. But then that's the thing. She can't express what's bothering her because she can't do it. So she wants to just blame somebody else and project her feelings on it. But when it comes to the whole Dennis and Drew filming, it's not even about that. It's about how Dennis has an obligation to her, being that he's the father of her daughter and he owes her that loyalty. It's a difference, ma'am, of him being there for his daughter, more so that he can do whatever the fuck he wants to do that won't affect him being there with his daughter. Because I did something here, like, I am still stuck on Porsha thinking that she can tell another person what they can and cannot do like she owns them. You don't own Dennis, ma'am. You're just the baby mama, like he is the baby daddy. The only thing you guys need to come together on is for PJ. Whatever he does in his personal life and business life has nothing to do with you, and you cannot tell him how he should go about it. You cannot control how he goes about it. So you can fucking miss me with that. So she appreciates Cynthia for being there for her, especially throughout their years of friendship. So the remainder of the night, all the ladies go out for the pool. Porsha, Shamia, Cynthia, Kelly, and Britt. Britt, when I tell you that ass, them BBLs killing y'all, and the thighs don't match. Well. Girl, that ass was something serious. That does not look pretty. So they were being loud, having a good time, twerking, throwing money, drinking, and all that stuff. And Angela's room is like right there, because it was around 2:30 in the morning. She's on the phone with her husband, and she hears the girls talking about her. They're talking about her dress, talking about her hair, talking about her husband. So while they are talking, she decides to record them. We saw a clip of the footage on Angela's phone, but it was very short because the more and more they talk, the more and more she decides to go downstairs and check for herself. Because in the midst of hearing them talk about her, she heard Porsha say, I should fuck Charles. So when she walked down the stairs to check them, you see all the ladies outside in their towels, and production went down. Cameras were down. But to see Angela come down and check them, you can see somebody in the corner holding the camera like they were about to hit film to get this type of footage. And as soon as the question was asked about Charles, Porsha ran out so fast and said, I'm not on camera. We are aware of hot mic moments. We're aware of that, right? So this scene with Angela coming down to confront them, Porsha wasn't ready for that confrontation. Hence why when the kitchen got hot, she had to run. Now she wants to be like, girl. She wants to film us like she's the girl in the window. Like, what's up with that? Ma'am, don't try to deflect and be like, it's weird for Angela to record y'all. Like you're on a reality show. And sometimes certain footage are left out to protect you because where's the footage for the Bolo situation? But it doesn't take away that you were caught in front of a whole bunch of other people saying you should fuck her husband. So in her confessional, she was asked by production, did you say anything about Angela or Charles? And she said, I didn't say anything, meaning that Hennessy was talking. So you were definitely honest with what you were saying. Because if you drunk off that Henny, then you was honest. Drunk men don't tell no tales. Brit was revealing that they were talking about Angela. She added Shamia in the mix. Shamia was the one who also said that Charles had a baby, allegedly, and that Charles be out at night with different types of women, allegedly. But Kelly says that she remembers Porsha saying she better stop before I fuck her husband. Kelly holds no loyalty to you, Porsha, and I'm super happy that Kelly didn't. Who do you think you are, Porsha, to have this type of Jezebel Delilah spirit around a bunch of women? And whenever you don't get your way, the first thing you want to do is say, I'm going to fuck that lady husband. Oh, girl, you can't trust nobody around Porsha. Hide your husband, hide your wives, as Kelly said. This proves more and more that the narrative about you and Simon is real. Angela said, don't ever think that Porsha is joking when she says she'll fuck your husband, because current history has shown she will most likely fuck your husband. So it's the next morning. Drew and Angela are ready to go. Kelly comes in all bright and chipper. She took her happy pills. And it's like, good morning. Angela said, girl, good morning. No. Stay back. Good morning. I'm not being fake. Why? What do you mean? Oh, I'm just saying, good morning. I'm just not being fake. You're at a high level. I'm at a low level. I don't want to meet you where you at right now. Because you was out there witnessing these ladies talk about me. And you heard your friend say she'll fuck my husband. And it's so crazy though, Kelly, because you've been a victim of infidelity in your marriage. And you think what Porsha said was right, was cool? No, sorry, Bob. So in the end, Angela is like, I don't give a fuck about whatever has transpired on this trip. I have been attacked, and attacked at this point is fuck y'all. And she calls every last one of those ladies a puppet, meaning Brit, meaning Shamia, meaning Cynthia, and Kelly. And I have to agree. I said it before, Kelly, you might not have been a puppet later down the line, but in this episode, you definitely showcased puppeteer. And that's it. That's all. I ain't got no more. I would say the rest of this episode was actually very interesting to hear this type of tea spill out. I don't know how Porsha ever thought this wouldn't be a topic of conversation, considering she don't want to be in this type of environment, but she put herself in this type of environment. So how dare you, Porsha? How dare you? You are a slimy ass individual. The same term you want to call Drew. You are a low down dirty bitch. You are a fucking backstabber. No woman should ever believe you are a real friend, especially if you're the type of friend who is envious and jealous of how your friend's life is set up and you want to taste of that. Girl, I cannot. But y'all, that's it. That's all. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm see you guys later. Bye.